Got me wishing that we were alone right now. Got me wishing that we were alone right now. I just wanna show you off somehow. You got me wishing that we were alone right now.
Wait.
Yo, welcome to the show. This is the Godson podcast, but in case you ain't noticed, this is the Him and Her podcast. This is an extension of the Godson podcast. I don't know what we doing, but we gonna do it regardless. The reason why I ain't do it the Godson podcast, because, you know, Godson is centered around Godson. Right now, we just gonna focus on him and her because we also know that God intended for us to have relationships. So I'm thinking, why not talk about it, right? So let's have an honest conversation on what it means to be in a relationship, him and her, you, her, both of y'all, both important. Y'all got to work together to make it work, right? Like, let's talk about it. So with that, we're going to get into this track. This one right here is from Preacher Rhymes. He wrote this for his wife. I think this is a dope song. So, I mean, what better way than to start the show with this song right here? Shout out to Preacher Rhymes. Shout out to Preacher Rhymes. Let's go.
I lose my focus every time you come around me. I fumble the moment. You get me open, but this little space between me and you feels like an ocean. You're messing up my vibe. Told myself 1,000 times, put love aside, but the energy's crazy when you're in the room. I can't even focus when you're near me, girl. I've been in love before. I can't get you out of my head. This feels like so much more. Every time you come near me, slow dancing tonight. Let's just get out of here. Let's get out of here. Let's just get out of here. Slow dancing tonight. Let's just get out of here. Let's just get out of here. Let's just get out of here. I can't control it. The harder I try, the more I feel like it's hopeless. I just can't say no to you. Slow dancing upon me. Twerking that back, you gon' find out real fast. Don't act like you don't know what you're doing and what it's doing, baby. Let's get. You're messing up my vibe. Told myself 1,000 times, put love aside, but the energy's crazy when you're in the room. I can't even focus when you're near me, girl. I've been in love before. I can't get you out of my head. This feels like so much more. Every time you come near me, slow dancing tonight. Let's just get out of here. Let's get out of here. Let's just get out of here. Slow dancing tonight. Let's just get out of here. 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 Let's just get out of
to the show. Welcome to the show. You can't hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Can you hear me, Loida? Yo, anybody in the chat, let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear Ceez. Say something, Cuzzle.
What up, my people?
Want to make sure we go with the show. Loida, I guess probably having some technical difficulties. Anybody in the chat right now, let us know if you can hear us. Let us know. You hear me now? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
All right, word. So
that
yeah,
sound
man.
Like we're in a Verizon commercial. Can you hear me now?
All right. So the gift said he can hear us. All right, good, man. That's the whole purpose, right? We want y'all to hear what we're gonna talk about. All right, so look, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. We got repeated guests on the show. Welcome to the show, man. You know I gotta play the sound effects now. You know what I mean? Servant holding me down with the roadcaster. He held me down. He said, "You know what? I just want to help you make the show easier. So however I can help, I'm gonna come alongside with you." So shout out to Servant King. Thank you for the roadcaster. Thank you for the roadcaster, my brother. Man, I appreciate you, boy. So with that said, though, man, in case y'all ain't noticed, you know, this is the Godson podcast, but not really, right? Like this is something that's a branch of, you know, for the lack of better terms. It's called the Him and Her podcast. And obviously we got the beautiful Loida Love up in the building. You know what I mean? We got my brother Ceez in the building. You know what I mean? Who's the son of God. You can see it right there on the screen. So, and the purpose is this, man. We want to have a real conversation, right? Because the reality is that when you look around, things have changed from the times, even when we was growing up. Like we grew up in a time period where people were married, people were in love. You know, it was a different kind of story. These days, for some reason, having a side chick, having a side man, you know, just having a fling, not something solid, but just something to move, you know, that seems to be what the motive is today. And we want to know why, what's the change? Why is that? And is it good? Has it been producing something that is fruitful in our lives? You know what I mean? So I felt that, you know, who better than to have on than Ceez and my sister Loida Love. You know, just look at the name, Loida Love. Loida Love, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. Hey, yo, shout out to Loida, shout out to my brother Ceez. We about to get in here and have a real conversation. Those that's logging on, if you could share the podcast, you know, and I want to apologize if we say something not accurate or maybe offensive. Whatever it is, our intention is not to be offensive. We just want to be real. We want to have a real dialogue. We want to address things for what they are and not what we want to make them to be. You know what I mean? So with that, man, we just want to welcome you to the show. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, right? But like anything, right? Before we get started, usually I pray on the Godson podcast, but because I got my brother Ceez here, bro, can I ask you to pray? Because, you know, we got to welcome God into everything.
Absolutely. Would love to, my brother. So I just want to, before I get started with a quick prayer, I just want to say that I'm here really to try to shed some light on the male perspective, on you know, the conversations I've been having with fellow brothers and sisters, you know, in and out of the church, that, you know, their struggles, what they're going through, what they're seeing, what they're dealing with, and really express that in a way that is relatable to the opposite gender, because that's the goal, right? The goal is to unite opposite genders, because right now there's such a big division between men, you know, men and women, and there's competition and these things going on that has obviously led us astray in a sort of way. Because if you look at society nowadays, I mean, I don't got to tell you, y'all see as much as I do. I mean, we're living in a time where it's, you know, where it's just crazy right now, you know. So I just want to say that whatever I say, I'm not perfect. You know, I have done my studies, I have done my research, I have, you know, spoken to a lot of people, men and women, and you know, the things I'm gonna talk about are based off of those. I don't speak anecdotally. I don't speak based on my experience. I speak based on empirical fact, empirical studies, and things of that nature, because I think that's the only way we're able to come to a resolution and a solution, or maybe even understanding, because I mean, we can't get to a resolution unless we first understand each other. So with that said, I just want to say a quick prayer and then we'll get started.
Mm, mm.
So, Father, I just thank you for tonight, Lord. I thank you for this time of communion. I thank you, Lord, that understanding is key, Lord, that you told us to love one another, that we come together, not be separated, Lord. So I ask that this conversation be fruitful, Lord, that it be glorifying and honoring to your name and what you taught us, Lord. And those who have ears to hear, let them hear. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen, amen, amen. Loida, what's up, Loida?
A woman, a
Beautiful
woman.
today. If I gotta say that you look beautiful today. And backstage, I told you look like a China doll, but I know you're not Chinese. But
Thank you, my
how
love.
you doing? How you doing? How was your day today?
It was well. I went to the gym with my son, and I feel energized and good, and all good. What about yours?
Yeah, nah, my day's been a little complicated because I had to go get a haircut. I had to make sure that when I come to do the podcast that I do it unto the Lord. So one of the things that in my mind, I feel like in the world when I used to go to the clubs or when I used to just go put on, like get on my bike and go stunt, you know what I mean? That I would put on my best. So I'm thinking, why less for the Lord? You know what I mean? Like, why less? So my day started off with me waking up early to go get a haircut. And then
That's a miracle in itself, right there.
you already know that, cousin, because I be up late night. Lloyd be like, yo, why you be hearing me at 2 a.m, bro? I'm sleeping.
Yeah, facts.
Like it makes no sense, bro. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I apologize, but that's just my lifestyle, man. I'll be up real late. Given, anyways. But we're gonna focus on what we're talking about now because I might.
Love you. Yes.
So, look, anybody logging on, do me the favor, right? If you rocking with us, man, just share the live because we're gonna address some topics that we think that is relevant to the world that we live in, relevant to the people, whether you're Christian or you're not Christian. It's just relevant. We're gonna talk about relevant information. We're gonna do our best to present facts as well, or maybe not facts, but statistics at least, right? So we don't want you to think that we just gonna be talking just to talk. Like we're gonna present some things. We're gonna have a dialogue on it, but we also want to talk about what the statistics look like, so that it's more than just an opinion. So with that, the first question obviously would be, where do you see the state of dating and relationships right now? Hold on. Before we even get into that, first of all, Ceez, you single?
I am seeing someone right now currently.
Okay, all right, all right. Sis, I already asked you, but I'll let you
Yeah,
answer for
I'm
people.
single.
She's single. All right, so it's interesting. We're gonna have two different perspectives because Ceez, if I'm not mistaken, he just recently became unsingle, right? So I think that both of y'all have two dope perspectives. Right now, you in this place, and right now he's in a place that where he's at, right? So I just want y'all to elaborate from your perspective. So with that,
Of course.
first question is, where do you see the state of dating and relationships right now? Also, hold on, part of yourself. I apologize. I'm trying to get it right. I'm trying to get it right. Look, what I'm gonna do, right? I'm gonna post the phone number in the chat because I have now the ability that you can call in. I know some people don't want to be on camera, right? But now you're gonna have the ability to call in. And if you just want to add your little 2 pennies, bring your 2 pennies.
Or
We
ask
good.
a question.
2 pennies added up to 98 cents gonna make $1. You know what I mean? So bring that. So all right, back to business, right? So first question, where do you see the state of dating and relationships right now?
You're asking just anybody?
I mean, I'll let the
Yeah, it's the
lady
open
go
floor.
first.
It's the open floor. I'm the interviewer. You guys are the interviewees, right? So I'm gonna ask the question. However y'all want to answer, go ahead. Whoever want to go first. I would say ladies go first. In my
Well,
opinion.
I mean, I feel like it's a big question for me, because I haven't been really researching relationships, but what I was hearing when you were introducing is that you see, a lot of people, a lot of men, I think that's what you were saying, and let me know if I'm wrong, but a lot of men just looking for like one night stands, or they're not looking for a relationship, that's not something that's being looked for right now. But I think that it depends what communities you're looking in, because we live in such a big world, and I'm part of some communities that the relationships are flourishing. Men are shifting the way that they are with women, even money wise. Like some women are making more money, and men are okay with holding space for them. so they can do that. So it's not so much ego of like, I'm the bread maker and you can't. But some women I know are millionaires and their men are making money too, but they're not making as much and they're being okay with it. So I think that it depends what communities you're in. So that's my answer to that.
Okay, all right. Ceez.
Well, I would say, for me, I think that the roles have been reversed in the sense where where men are. I'm gonna be straight up honest. I'm trying to not be trying to be political right, but that's not gonna work for me because I'm not that type of person. I'm someone that's gonna, give it to you with no sauce. So I think the roles have been reversed, where a lot of men are very feminine now, and a lot of women are very masculine now. It's at a place
That's
now
where, right there, though.
We're at a place now that like I said, the roles have been reversed, and with those roles being reversed, there's a lot of chaos and a lot of stuff going on. I think we've gotten away from the nuclear family. And by getting away from the nuclear family, we live in a society now that's degenerating. Let's keep it all the way above. You look outside, you look at social media, you look at the news, and we're living in complete anarchy and chaos. And I think that has a lot to do with the nuclear family, because once you break the nuclear family, there's no, the roles shift in a sense where moms have to become dads, and dads have to become moms, single parents, and it's just gotten to a place where we live in a society where it's okay to to pretty much, how can I put this? It's okay to do pretty much whatever you want and have zero repercussions of it. So, we're living in the times where, it's kind of like almost like Sodom and Gomorrah, where all this craziness is happening, and it's socially acceptable now. Where back in the days it was, I wouldn't say frowned upon, but people weren't really, getting into the things that they're getting into now. And that has caused a lot of friction between men and women, and the dynamic of what it looks like to be in a relationship, a man and a woman.
Yeah. That's dope right there. So basically, you're saying that, like, if you had to sum it up, and I'm asking this question to both of y'all.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to sum it up and you had to answer this question to somebody who was, quote unquote, ignorant to just like the basics of why this isn't, what would you say your answer is for today's period? Like, where is the state of dating? Is it in a positive side? Is it on a negative side? You know what I mean?
You want to answer first, Loida?
I'll let you go first this time.
Okay. So it's definitely negative. We live in a time where, it's not till death do us part anymore. It's till when I feel like it. If one day you're in a relationship and one day someone wakes up and they don't feel it anymore, that's it. It's over, a wrap. It's not about duty. It's not about commitment. It's not about family anymore. It's about me, how I feel. And I think when we get to that point, we get in this mindset that the grass is greener on the other side. And if you look at it, and if you look around, how many relationships last more than 2 years, 5 years? You don't hear about, we're celebrating a 20-year anniversary. We're celebrating a 25-year anniversary, a 30-year anniversary. That stuff doesn't exist anymore. So I think that in itself is a testament to the negativity and what's going on today in society with relationships.
One of the things that I think about too, man, is that you got to think about the mindset of a woman. Not to speak for a woman, because we got one here, right? But if I'm a man trying to put myself through this perspective and saying, why ain't we seeing this? Well, today we live in a time period where women are actually being looked at as the equivalent of a man, which I actually believe was God's order from the beginning. What happened between God's order from the time he set the order to where we live at now? That's a whole nother podcast, right? But I think that where we at now, women are coming back into this place of feeling value. And so,
can I say something? Is he coming in choppy to you, or is he coming in clear?
Yeah, he's coming in clear to me.
No,
I don't know.
You. I'm asking.
Oh no, yeah, he's coming in clear to me, Loida. I can hear him loud and clear.
I don't know why. Okay. All right. Sorry to interrupt you.
Anybody in the chat, man, let me know if you can hear me clearly. I definitely don't want to come in choppy. Let me know if you can hear me clearly, not just continue.
And I might have to come back, go out. I don't know why that's happening.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Don't worry about it. We're gonna be here to the end, regardless.
Yeah, try that, Loida. Try to come in and go back on.
Let me do that.
Yeah. All right. So basically, the point that I'm making, right, is that you're getting women who are coming into this place of having equality, right, where they're starting to feel valuable, just within themselves. But when you start throwing around the word marriage, you have to consider what that would do to a woman who's finding her value in herself, where she's feeling like, all right, well, what does it mean for me to say yes to you, marrying you? Do you want me to submit to you? And do I have to like wake up every single day and cook your breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Do you want me to just stay home and just wait till whenever you bring home like, what does that imply? Because we know what it implied before, but yet men are not the way that men used to be before, right? These days, I think you made one of the points where these days men are more susceptible to stay home and play PlayStation. Women are like, you serious, boy? Like I thought you grew out of that, right? So what I'm saying is like, what? Why?
I just want to say, because I just really do believe that it's different in different communities. Like, I believe that there are men that are okay with that, and that depends on what state they are in level maturity, because maturity is an age. But I know men that are working and devoted to their families. I have heard of 20 or 30-year anniversaries recently, and even more than that. So I just feel like I don't like to generalize. It's not something I like to do. I don't like to put people in a box, because there's so many people in the world and we do not know all of them. We do not know what's going on in every relationship.
I like your stinking thinking. Go ahead.
And so I can't say every man is doing this or every woman is doing this or every relationship it looks like this, because I don't know. I think we're in a place where in the world where women are shifting and owning their power more. Even me, right? Like, I'm a single mother and I've taken care of my son by myself for years. And I've thought about the double standards as far as even being a mother and being a father, because for me, being a mother is I'm in 125%, right? Like, I'm there even if he's with his dad for a weekend. I'm like still doing stuff for him, or I'm calling to check in. I'm 125% devoted. And the difference between that and having his father be every other weekend and that be enough to be a father, like, I'm like, sometimes I feel confused about those roles. But standing in my power is knowing that I've handled it thus far, and that I can, and I'm still standing, and that it's not that I don't desire a relationship, but I don't need one, that I could hold my own, and that I could love myself through all of my challenges. And from this place inside myself, I will invite a relationship that's healthy, that's adding to what I already have. Because what I think happens in relationships is that many of them are codependent. So we're trying to heal each other in relationships. But when I say heal each other, it's like past wounds are trying to be healed in the current relationship, which can't happen. We have to do our own individual work, and then actually see the person in front of us, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, what do you say to that, Ceez?
Well, I would say that, in order for us to have an actual discussion where where it's being fruitful and we're helping other people, I think we do have to speak in generalizations. And the reason why is because our experiences aren't the world. Having anecdotal conversations where they're just based off our experience of what we see is just that. We're in a bubble, and since we just see this, we don't realize what's going on in the world.
For the
So
people logging on, you're gonna have to break down that word. What's anecdotal?
anecdotal means basing an argument or a position based off solely experience, not based on statistical facts or empirical information, solely based off of opinion and experiences.
We learn something new every day, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
So
Thank you.
if we're gonna be,
Hey, what was that?
I don't know. What was that?
That was you crashing.
Right, did it sound like claps? It's supposed to sound like claps.
Yeah,
How about
that didn't like that.
that right there? Sounds scary. I don't know.
That was the universe, like.
I don't believe in the universe. I believe in the creator of the universe.
Go ahead. My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Yo.
I said I don't believe in the universe. I believe in the creator of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I was saying, if we're gonna have a conversation that's actually gonna be fruitful and we're gonna learn, we gotta get out of our experiences and see the world as a whole. So we have, in order to be able to be fruitful and reach people and help people, it has to be a generalized conversation. Not to say that experiences don't matter, but your experiences, our experiences aren't what's the world. So I just wanted to point that out.
Well, that's an opinion. So I just wanted to point that out.
Well, it's
I like it. This is what it's about right here. This is what it's about, ladies and gentlemen. We have opinions, we have facts, and this is why I wanted to have this, because I when I look around the world today, what I see is a lot of confusion. It's a lot of people basing, their reality off of their experience, their opinions, what they consider to be facts. But the question is, when you start to peel that onion back, you're gonna find out real quick what's an opinion and what's an actual fact.
That's perfect way. So I'm gonna ask you this, right? So since I'm speaking in opinions, I'll ask you this: what's the percentage of the divorce rate in the United States of America?
I said I'm not studying relationships.
Okay, so I'll answer
so
it
I'm not.
you.
I'll
answer it for you.
Before
it's over 50%.
Before we continue, I'm not here to go against you or to go head to
Oh,
head.
no,
I have no desire to try to prove or convince you of anything. I'm here to have an open conversation about what I believe. If you don't feel comfortable with that, then that's okay. But I ask you not to push on me or to try to test me or quiz me according to what you believe is true.
Well, I'm not against you. I'm not trying to be adversarial or have an adversarial conversation. It's the opposite. I want to have a fruitful conversation. Like I said before we started, I said the prayer is, in order for us to move ahead, we have to have a base. We have to have a foundation, and in order to have the foundation, we have to speak on stuff that's actually factual, not based on opinion.
But factual according to who?
Studies, empirical information.
But that's your studies according to whoever did. Like, facts are according to the people that, if somebody wrote a book, those are their facts according to that. Like, it's facts according to who?
Well, according to different studies. So, I mean, if you're studying to be a mathematician or whatever, studying to be what, and you're doing research on whatever subject that it is that you're studying, the research is going to determine the fact. It's going to be completely opinionless, and it's going to be based more on the numbers, because Jay-Z said it best: men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie.
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, I feel like facts are a point of view, I believe. I even think about, like, I don't know exactly, but I think the earth was thought to be flat at some point, right? And then that was a fact. And then eventually they found out.
Wait a minute. We're not
that the world is round
right now.
That what?
We're not having a flat earth conversation right now. No, I'm only playing. My bad. I'm trying to be
right, because the world is
right now.
The earth is round, right? Like that fact.
Maybe.
Not according to Jay Measy.
It's not Jay Measy, not according to facts. Yeah. But I said, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, I mean, really, who the fuck? Oops, I'm sorry. I'm like,
yes, please. I mean, I understand that, me personally, I don't see curse words as a negative thing, because I am an artist and I know that words express how we feel. But just for the sake of other people that might be offended, you know what I mean, because of
I
words.
said my bad.
No, I know you
really.
did. I know you did, but I just got to say that though.
Thanks.
He's being the principal.
Yo,
Yeah.
listen,
So
man.
I mean, if there are things that are factual, whether we agree with them or not. So the truth is objective. Your interpretation of the truth is subjective. So if we're gonna have a conversation that's actually gonna be fruitful, I think that one, we have to establish that a fact is something that you can actually prove by repeating it on more than one occasion and coming to the same conclusion. That's the definition of a fact.
Okay.
So if I can repeat something, do an experiment and repeat it 5 times, and I get the same result, that's a fact. It's not an opinion.
Okay, but I still don't.
So just for the people watching, a scientific fact is the method of doing something repeatedly, something that you can observe, something that you can test, and something that you can repeat multiple times and still end up at the same answer. That's the definition of what a scientific fact
That's
is.
also the definition of insanity.
No,
Doing something over and over and again and expecting something different.
wow, I never looked at it that way. You gave me a different perspective. That's dope. That's dope.
No, but the difference is expecting a different result. Anyways, but I mean, if we're gonna, we can play semantics all we want, but if we speak English. We have a language. We have a communication. Within those communications, there are words that mean something. So if we're gonna have a conversation, we have to stick to what the words mean. And a fact is something that's able to be demonstrated on more than one occasion. So we could say here and say, yeah, the sky's blue, and you'll be like, no, it's purple, it's yellow, it's violet. At the end of the day, we can prove that the sky is blue.
I actually love this conversation. It's so beautiful. I really do. Like, even if it feels like there's some conflict, because this is what I feel like is important in relationships, because even if we're not in an intimate, like, boyfriend, girlfriend, or man and woman relationship, we're having a relationship right now, and we get to have a conversation, we get to communicate, right? So then it's less about convincing or making somebody see our point of view, but actually what's my point of view and what's yours, and being open to that, right? Because if not, then it's gonna be, no, the sky is blue, no, the sky is this color, no, and then we are getting nowhere, right? It's fist against fist, and that's what happens in relationships. People are trying to prove they're right rather than being open to somebody else's truth. Maybe you have a truth that's different than mine, and maybe my truth is different than yours. And could that be okay? Could we have relationship and communication in the midst of that?
I agree 100%.
Yes, Joanna.
With what you just said is about understanding, because like I said initially before I said it, at the very least, understand where each one of us are coming from. We may not agree, but as the first step is to understand, okay, I understand why he thinks that way, or why she thinks that way, or why they, say the things that they say. But I ain't gonna push back to you on this, your truth, my truth. There's only one truth.
Okay. So no more conversation.
I just wanted to.
Okay.
I mean, one thing I will say this, right? I will say this to add to C's point, and I'm not picking sides. That's why I'm going to the back room and letting y'all just, because this is what the point is, right? But I will say this: the color black is always going to be black. Whether somebody might say that's gray, that's not really black, that's brown. No, I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna look at it, and naturally, I'm gonna say that's black. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I wrote about that in my book. Like, some people will say a paper is black, and some will say it's white. And I can live my life trying to convince. If I think it's black, I can live my life trying to convince somebody that it's black when they think it's white, or I can just be with their truth. And or I have no desire.
Right, so look,
it depends where you are. Like, I have no desire to try to force my opinion or try to convince people of a truth. I really don't. My desire is
All
to
right, so I wouldn't necessarily say I'm trying to convince anybody of, like this relationship, because I'm not even in this convo, right? But if
you
we're
are
just
in
gonna
this
talk about
conversation, okay? You are
kind
in
of,
this
sort of, kind of,
conversation.
I don't know.
He's like, is
Yeah,
it not me?
hey, yeah. But look at what I'm saying, right? This is what I'm saying, right? Now, the fire, and I've used this example before, but the fire is going to burn regardless. Now, somebody can look at the fire and say, "Oh my God, look at the fire! It's pretty. It got pretty colors, and because the colors are pretty, why would anything pretty want to hurt me?" Right? And somebody could say, "Well, I know it's pretty, but the fire burns." That's a truth. Now, whether the person thinks that the colors are pretty and pretty colors shouldn't burn you, I guarantee you that if they put their hand in that fire, it's going to burn, right? So, and I say all that just to say that there has to be a truth.
Facts.
Now, whether your opinion represents that truth or his opinion or anybody's opinion, I mean, that remains to be seen, right? But we have to agree that there has to be one truth that has to be true for everybody,
Mm,
regardless of
I
opinions.
I mean, my truth, because I get to have one, right? Is that I'm open to people's truths. I'm open to other people's truths. That's just how I am. And my heart's open to the truth of everybody. And my desire isn't to like be pushed or push anybody into anything, because that's what I believe true love is to be open to other people's truth, like just to be like this is love.
Yeah, I believe
I would say that that's true, but love is also correction. So if you see your son doing something and you don't agree with it, but he says it's okay with it, you're gonna correct him out of love, because you know that what he's doing is not correct and it's wrong. And even though he might think it's truth, it's his truth, the reality is that what he's doing is wrong, and you're gonna correct him. That's what love is as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you make a good point, and that's different to me than a relationship, because as a mother, I'm supposed to guide my son to know what's right and wrong. And of course, in relationship, we're doing the same thing, but I think right now we're talking about something a little different. And
It's just like I said. I'm just trying to lay out a baseline so we can have a
this
conversation
is
that's actually
great.
going to be fact.
Let me
Yeah.
ask you a question. Hold on. So let me ask a question, right? Because due to the question, where do you see the state of dating and relationships right now? We have to ask the obvious question. What does a dating environment look like? What does a relationship environment look like? Are we being
Swipe
truthful
left,
to each
swipe
other?
left, swipe left, swipe right, swipe right. That's what it looks like right now.
Right. So are we all right? So Loida, and you a female, maybe you can help me out. But do you think it's an honorable thing for your man or somebody who at least is trying to show interest towards you, that if you come out rocking a hairstyle that looks a little suspect, would you want him to say, "Nah, baby, if you think it look good, it look good," or would you want him to give you his honest opinion and be like, "If it's suspect, it's suspect"?
But that's still his opinion, because I've learned something that my one of my exes didn't like, but I loved it. And so that was still his opinion. So my truth is that I loved it. You know what I mean? Like I could take somebody else's opinion and make it my own. I could say, oh, you know what? Or like look and be like, yo, you know, you're right. But I might say, you know what? Thank you for your opinion, but I actually like it.
No, and I get
And
that. So and so what? So my question isn't geared towards like me saying something to you and you having to change it. That's not what I'm talking about.
mhm.
But I'm just talking about me even saying something to you, because a lot of times people be fronting, right? So some people will look at you and see that you got a booger in your nose
And
and
they
won't
won't
say
tell you.
nothing because they don't want to offend you, right?
Of course. Yeah.
But I'm like, nah, if I got a
We're
booger
looking
in my
out for
nose,
people.
tell
Yeah.
me, right? So that's what
Yeah.
I'm talking about. So there has to be this line where you draw where it's like, bro, if you love me, you would tell me the truth. You won't let me just do this whole interview with a booger in my nose
Oh, of
for the
course.
sake of not offending me, right?
Of course.
All right. So
But
what
that's
I'm
different
saying
than
is
black
in the
and
state
white.
of dating, and when you're thinking about swipe left, swipe right, are people being truthful when they do that? Or is there because there could be a truth there? This
I mean, that's just a new way that people are presented to date. I don't think it works for everybody, because I don't think it works for everybody. I mean, but it does work for some people. Like my sister was married. Her husband and her have been married for like 4 or 5 years now. And they met through Match.com. And
That's deep. That's deep.
Two of my best friends, two of my good friends, they are married through Match.com too. So it may work for people, it may not work for people. But what I think, at some point, people were going to bars to meet people. I personally don't drink, right? And that's not really where I want to find my partner. But that was the way people dated before, and now maybe that's outdated. Maybe that's still working for people, but things change. We as humans evolve, and things change, and we could be like, oh, I freaking don't like this, and why is this happening? Or we can be open to things change, and we grow and we evolve, and that's what we're supposed to do as humans.
So, Ceez, you want to add on to that before I go to the next question?
I mean, this is something that I've learned over the past like 5-6 months that I really see a lot of, and whether it be on the news, on, you know, people speaking to people in general, a lot of us today want to be politically correct and put the truth at jeopardy, not to offend people. And I think in order for you to be truthful, you have to be mindful that you might offend somebody. Jesus was offensive, but he was speaking the truth. Whether people agree with it or not, you know, at the time he was speaking the truth. He was considered very offensive. But if you look back now, and even to this day, we're still studying his word and still studying what he taught. And he understood that in order to get to the people, he had to risk being offensive in order to bring the truth out. So I think, you know, if we need to, you know, try to, I know it's hard, you know, not to you know, try to be politically correct. But in order for us to get past this and really get down to the meat and bones of what's going on, we have to risk the facts. The fact that the truth is sometimes going to be offensive to some people. And what I mean by that, okay, so let's say I'm speaking to a group of 10 people, you know, and I'm speaking to a group of 10, and I'm you know, having a conversation, and we're dialoguing, and 9 people out of that agree with me, but there's one person that's offended by what I said. Am I going to stop speaking the truth to those 9 people to appease that one person that's offended, or am I going to continue to speak the truth to the 9 people?
I see that, and I think if you're really trying to live a life that's honorable, you're gonna share your opinion like it is truth, right? Because it's your opinion because you believe it to be truth. So you're always gonna stand on that. And I also agree with Loida, because she says, you know, your truth can be based off of a bias that you have. Doesn't mean that your truth has to be my truth, which I understand and I can agree with, because I find myself even in now when dealing with trying to create a relationship with somebody, is that, you know, what's true for me might not be true for somebody else. And I shouldn't feel guilty because what I find is true for me. You know what I mean? Like, I shouldn't feel guilty for that. But I do believe, though, that there is this balance, like a yin and a yang, right? You know, for my religious people, this is probably where you want to log off, because I just went pagan on you. But look, the yin and the yang, right? I'm talking about like the balance of life, right? You can't just be, you can't just think you're always 100% right, because then you can never learn anything, right? So you need that balance to say, you know, maybe I could be wrong. And that consideration in saying that I could be wrong could look like considering somebody else's truth, right?
Yeah.
Which allows you to create a relationship that connects. Because when people have their truth versus somebody else's truth, if they're not willing to connect and they're not willing to consider each other's truths, all it's going to do is disconnect, right? And it's speaking to what we're talking about right now, because this is what dating looks like. This is what relationships look like. People are so caught up on what's true to them that they're not willing to consider what's true to somebody else.
Can I get an amen? We going to church right now?
Look, you are trying to steal my mojo, baby. Going in. Hold on. Got it. Thank you, everybody.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody. Right. what I'm
Exactly.
saying is this, right? Because a relationship requires two people at least, right? And for two people to walk together, they have to agree. That's biblical. Two cannot walk together unless they agree. Now, the only way you can agree with somebody who might be different from you, like a man and a woman, is that you have to be able to see things through her perspective the same way that she's willing to see things through your perspective.
Yeah.
But I feel like that was
And
missing today.
somebody,
Yeah.
I forgot who it was. There's somebody Joy. Her first name, I forget her name, but somebody with the middle name Joy, and I don't know Joy because Nicholas the Joy Boy. But this woman said, agreeing to disagree, because it's not that in a relationship you have to always agree. Right, Joanna. Yes, Joanna. So
Yep.
in relationships, it doesn't mean you're always gonna agree. Sometimes you gotta agree to disagree. Like, you know what? That's your point of view, and I respect that. And this is mine, and the person can respect that, and we can keep walking. Like it's like that. It's okay that it's not like no, but you gotta believe what I say because if that, then that's like you're trying to
Yeah, that's a problem.
force, right?
Yeah, that's a
Force it.
problem. That's gonna create friction right there. You heard?
Yes, and it's
Because
this,
you gotta
like I was
understand
saying
the
earlier.
same way that you got a character, people got characters too. Now, if you interested in somebody and you're trying to work out a relationship with somebody, whether it be like husband and wife or just friendships, you have to be willing to compromise to see things through other people's perspective if you
Yes.
plan on connecting.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the things that's lacking so much with just relationships and dating right now is that people are just trying to smash. They're not trying to connect. They trying to connect in different ways. And I'm feeling like, man, this is why you got broken homes. This is why you got kids growing up with the sad story that they didn't have a father or that their mother was this, that, and the third, right? Because people are so driven by their own opinions, their own like what motivates them that they don't know how to stick to what's like. If we're gonna talk about truth, let's talk about truth. Let's
Yeah.
not talk about opinions. Opinions and truth are two different things.
To me, this is why I I translated my book into Spanish, and it's about to be published in Spanish, and I'm so excited because I feel like in our community where we were raised, there hasn't been direction on how to come home to oneself first, how to love ourselves first. Like I had to learn through the years what even is that to love oneself, right? And then of course I created practices and studied a whole lot to learn how to love myself because I can only love someone else as far as I'm loving me, right? And if I don't love myself at all, or if I don't even see myself as a whole person, I'm going to desire somebody to fill my voids, to complete me, rather than seeing myself as a complete whole person that desires another complete whole person to build and rise and live life with and celebrate life with, which is a total different energy than I'm getting in a relationship because I want to feel better about myself. I want to get fixed. I want to fill voids. It's a total different relationship desire. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, no, it does. So that actually leads into the next question, right? And the next question is, why do you think more people aren't seeking to get married? Why are people more like people are okay with just having their job, having their house, and having a side chick, not somebody who can move in, not somebody who can say anything in their lives, but they just want to be able to eat, for the lack of better terms, eat their cake or have their cake and eat it too, right? Why do
Yeah,
you?
I love that you put more people because that doesn't put everybody like that. Because I
And
have seen.
me personally, man, I always consider the fact that not everybody's the same.
Yes, yes. So because I've seen so many engagements recently, and I'm like celebrating people that are like getting married, and I'm just like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But I do see your point too because I do see some like I'm dating, and I can tell there's some men that are just interested in my body, right? They're not interested in getting to know my mind and who I am as a person.
You definitely a beautiful woman. You're my best friend, but you're definitely a beautiful woman. So I don't want to lie to you. That is the truth.
Thank you. Thank you. And so it's like I see the difficulty because I'm having the experience of there are some men that are just like I don't even feel a connection with them because I feel like they're more focused on let's go to bed, to be honest. And they're not saying it, but I can feel energy. I know I can tell the direction. And so there's the difference between that and like the relationships that I see that are people that are men that are actually holding their women's hands, and they're wanting to love them through their pain, and they're wanting to travel with them, and they're wanting to do so many amazing things, which actually gives me hope, right? Because I could be, as a woman, I could be jealous and be like, oh, look at everybody's getting married and everybody's getting engaged. That actually gives me hope that there is possibility and potential out there. I'm like, there's men that are good, right? Rather than like, there's no men that are freaking good and I ya me voy a quedar sola para siempre, you know?
Para siempre. Yo, that means forever for those that don't know Spanish.
You know, most of your community is Spanish.
Yeah, you know, yeah.
He's like, yeah.
Yeah. Yo, Ceez, where you at with that, boy? Why do you think more people aren't seeking to get married, Cuzzo?
Well, the question that you stated was, you know, why aren't people seeking to get married? And I know that, you know, this is, again, when everything that I try my best, that everything that comes out of my mouth is not based on my opinion, but it's based on facts. Again, I don't want to get into the whole facts thing again. We're past that. But,
I appreciate you. I actually, you know what? I feel so good. Like, you have no idea. My heart's so open to this conversation, and I love that you even just said that you don't want to get into it, right? Like, like I feel like you're also
moving
open
with Jesus
too.
on this side, so we're not trying to offend. We just trying to connect. You know what I mean?
I didn't even hear what you said, but yes. So I just feel like you're opening more to me, even if you're like, I'm pushing the conversation away. You're being open to the fact that there's something that I see and there's something that you see, and you're like, I'm not even gonna go there. I just love it.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up.
But I do want to hear what you said, Jay.
Well, I was saying that, you know, we're here to connect. We're not
yes.
here to divide. So
yes, and that's what I feel is happening, because that's the important thing. Because I see you as a human being. I see your soul, and I see us in the same team, right? We're humans trying to build humans up, and we're doing our best to stay conscious and become more conscious and aware, to learn what love is, and we're bringing it out to the world as best as we know it, right? For the people on this call, and for if generations to come, we're well, at least I know I'm doing my healing work for myself and for the people present and the people in the future. That's what's important, and I feel like we're all doing that. We're all bringing each other home.
I don't know why.
What is that, dude? You need to stop using that one.
Yeah, I had to put the laugh. I don't know why I did it, but it was like a reflex.
There was a what?
It was like a reflex.
It sounded like the Crypt Keeper from Tales from the
Reflex. You know, like
I'm like, that was kind of rude.
Natural I don't know. I just hold up the buttons in front of me. I just want to press them. It's like a kid in the candy store.
Maybe somebody needs to take them away from me.
Yeah, take them away, kid. Take them away. For real.
But go ahead, love.
So I mean, you know, I want to reiterate again that, you know, it's all about coming to an understanding of where we, you know, where each person is, so that way we can move forward, because without understanding, there's no way we're going to be able to move forward. So, you know, I don't listen to respond. I listen to understand. I actually, if you look, when you're talking, I'm writing notes. I'm being super intentional to what you're saying, because I want to be someone that is talking to you, not at you.
I know you're gonna dig this.
What was that?
Yo, Jay, stop.
You're gonna dig this.
Hey, yo, y'all gotta relax. Let me do my DJ thing. Y'all
You
do
gotta
y'all.
relax. But now
Yo, look.
somebody's talking, son. You know what I mean?
Nah,
You do that after someone
bro,
talking.
I just know people are gonna dig what you about to say.
Yeah.
That's it. Look.
I know you gonna dig this.
Yeah. So as being a son of God, as being someone that is called to love others, and put others first. I have to, be able to meet people where they're at, and in order for me to do that, so I'm going to take it back to biblical terms a little bit. So Jesus had to come from heaven to earth to meet us where we're at, to bring us up to where he's going. So sometimes that means, not to say that, you're down here and I'm up here, or anybody else for that matter, but sometimes we do have to meet people where they're at and help them to, reach other levels that they want to reach. So, when we're having these type of conversations, I try to be super mindful to really listen to what people are saying, listen to the heart behind what they're saying, and really try to listen to understand and not listen to respond. And like I said, I write notes and I'm really being mindful and paying attention to everything that's being spoken, because one, I wanna represent God, and I want to represent myself well, and I want to, be able to, at the very least, Loida, leave this conversation and be like, man, I get him. I get where he's coming from. And that's gonna maybe you may not see or fully get it, but it may open up a door and be like, I'm gonna consider that. Let me consider it at least, and let me do my research, let me do my homework and see what it was being spoken is the truth. Because I know that we spoke about having your truth, our truth, and other, but like I said, I'm gonna go back. There's only one truth, and that's, but again, that's semantics. So back to your question, Misa, you asked, why do you think that people don't want to get married anymore, or this and that? And I'm gonna speak, and some of the stuff I'm gonna say may come off as a little harsh, may come off as a little crude or whatever, but like I said, this is something that I've been studying. This is something that I've been speaking to people. This is something that I've been really diving into. And the fact is that most men are scared to get married because the way the system is set up, the way the laws are set up, they're set up to hurt men. And let me elaborate. I asked you earlier, what's the divorce rate in the United States? And I wasn't being it wasn't a rhetorical question, but obviously you say you didn't study it, but I really did dove deep into this, and over 50% of marriages in the United States end up in divorce. Out of those 50% of marriages, 70 to 80% of them are initiated by women. And the number one reason for divorce is finances, and the number two reason for divorce is sex. All right, these are not opinions. These are based on, court filings. When you file a divorce, you file, the person that files a divorce has to say why they're filing, et cetera, et cetera. So these are all information, that you can feel free to look up, Loida. So me being a man, so I just purchased my first home for the first time, this last year, right? I've built a
congratulations for you purchasing your home. Because me knowing you, bro, and where we come from, we ain't supposed to purchase homes. We supposed to be in jail or in the hospital or in a casket. You heard?
Jesus,
so congratulations for you purchasing your home. Go ahead, Guzzle.
Glory to God, man. All the glory goes to God, So me being, like I said, recently single, being a single for a long time, I sit back and I look, all right. So 90% of all alimony is paid man to woman. 90% of child support is man to woman. So if I'm being honest with myself, and I'm looking at this from a wide-eyed or a full perspective, I'm gonna say to myself, if I marry this person, if I end up marrying somebody, right, and let's say it goes left, now I'm at risk of losing my home. I'm at risk of losing my children. I get to see them, once a weekend, every other weekend. I lose my income. I lose a whole bunch of things. So I'm, it's hard for me. Not to say that I believe in marriage. I believe in a nuclear home. I believe that the best way for this society to raise
what is
children
a
is to be in
what
a
is a
nuclear
nuclear
family.
home though? What is
Huh?
that? What's a nuclear home? What is that? What that
A
mean?
nuclear home is man and woman nuclear together, not a single parent homes where the father's gone or the mother's gone, or anything. A nuclear family where there's two parents raising children to be the best they could possibly be, morals, principles, all that good stuff. That's what a nuclear family means. So
Right.
if I'm peeling this onion back
Silent.
as far as marriage, right, and I'm saying to myself, I'm a guy, right, and I'm gonna go into a contract with someone that is incentivized to break that contract. Why would I want to get into a contract with somebody that is incentivized to break that contract? I won't. I
Right
won't
there.
get into something like that.
So
I mean,
look.
I love that because I know that there was a guy that I dated, and he was divorced, and he was saying that he didn't want to get married again because when he did get divorced, he lost his house
He
and
got
all
cleaned
his
out.
things. And so
Yeah.
then I felt like I was paying for something that wasn't mine. Because I'm like, okay, but that wasn't me, right?
Right.
But I can feel that, right? Like he had to start all over. He lived in an apartment for a while and then ended up building his own home. But I can feel, right, the fear of like, damn, I had everything and then I lost it, right? So I like that you're bringing those fears up too.
Because they're important to talk about, because these are conversations that we don't have, and these are conversations that need to be had, because if like I said, I believe in in covenant with God and family, but what I don't agree with is the fact that men are marginalized in the court, in the court system, whether it be the family court, whether it be divorce court, heck, whether it be criminal court. Let's keep it all the way tall. A man and a woman commit the same crime, and a man is likely to get three more times time than a woman does. So if I'm a man and I'm protecting myself, and I worked, busted my butt, came out of nowhere, came from the projects to where I am now, I'm and I'm willing to invite a person into my life, but at what cost, at what risk? Am I willing to risk everything I work for just because one day you wake up the next day and now you don't feel it anymore, or you're not in love with me anymore,
I
or you're not this
really
anymore?
loved
You know
it
what I mean? So
because
that's
If
why
I
I
can
think marriage
interject a
is
little
where they
bit,
at
if I
now.
can interject, like I'm a person, right? Bro, you gotta relax. I heard you. All right, look, that's how I feel
Lord.
about
Lord.
that. But anyway, so what I was saying, right? Me, I'm somebody who looks at covenant as something that's more than just standing on a podium and saying I do, right? When we gonna talk about like through thick and thin,
Come
you know
on.
what I mean? Like, what that mean though?
So
You know what
death
I
do
mean?
us
Because a
part,
lot
and
of
richer
times
and poorer,
we like to
from
say
richer to
things that
poorer.
sound good, right?
Yeah, facts.
We say things that sound good, but what that mean though? Because if I'm coming into this covenant with you and I'm willing to take that step to say thick and thin till death do us part, are you coming into the same covenant? Because I feel like today people are so caught up in what they feel is right and wrong. When we stand in that podium, we're not coming into the same covenant as much as we act like we agree, right? Like, so thick and thin doesn't really mean thick and thin, or till death do us part really doesn't mean that. And
I
what
think
I'm
it
trying to
depends
say is, yeah,
I think it depends too, because I know that for me, I stayed in a relationship for a long time that wasn't healthy because I was in it through thick and thin. And so I think that there's an important thing to note that sometimes it's healthy to leave a relationship, especially if it's emotionally or physically.
but look, but sis, this is what I'm asking though. So you went into this through thick and thin, right? You went into that like that. So what if he would have responded the same exact way? Would you still be apart from him?
If I don't understand your question right now. First
What
of
I'm
all,
saying is that if
If
you
you would have matched your energy,
relationship, if you came into a relationship with somebody and you're saying, "Yo, I'm a rock with you through thick and thin," and he said, "Yeah, I'm a rock with you through thick and thin," and he felt the same way you felt, would you be separated right now?
Well, what I was saying, it was more about unhealthy relationships, that sometimes it's there's unhealthy relationships, and that's just like, I got into a relationship when I was young. I had no maturity, and the guy I was with had no real maturity, right? We're drinking and smoking and physically fighting, right? Like, we're arguing every day. I think that at some point we have to like be like, okay, are we gonna do this for the rest of our lives, or could we agree to disagree and let go? But there's a difference between that and getting into a relationship that's healthy, where you're up and getting married, and you make the agreement to stay with each other through thick and thin, but from a healthy place. I think too many marriages are happening. If anything, a lot of marriages are happening through unhealthy, and people aren't even aware that that's what's happening until they get into the relationship, because they're putting their partners on a pedestal. So either the man is king and god, or the woman is king and god, and then when something goes wrong, any little thing goes wrong, they're the devil. They're, oh my god, they're the worst person in the world.
So this is, and this is why I think that, and not because Ceez is a man and I'm taking a man's side, but I think that there's a fine line between what's true and what's not true. So if I come before God, quote unquote, that's what it looks like when you get married, right? People get married because they're coming into a covenant. So when I come into this covenant with you, right, Loida, right? Let's just say it's me and you.
Mm-hmm.
We coming into this covenant, and I tell you, Loida, through thick and thin, I'm rocking with you. The question now becomes, what does thick mean?
Exactly. That's what I said earlier.
So now this is what I'm saying, right? So if we're being honest with each other from the gate, you would know what thick means with me, because I would be honest about what thick means.
So but thick wouldn't be, I'm putting up with you cheating, I'm putting up with you physically beating me.
This is the thing about the covenant. Now this is why
that's what I'm
right?
talking about.
So when I come into a covenant with you, and I say through thick and thin, that doesn't include that I get to cheat on you.
Right.
Right.
So when somebody cheats
on you, when somebody cheats on you, what they're doing is breaking the covenant.
They're breaking the contract.
My question is this: what if the person that came into covenant with you actually meant what he said?
Well, that's a whole different.
Would you still be single?
That's a whole different.
You wouldn't be single. Right? And that's my whole point. Because today people aren't really getting married, because I think that, the way people feel is actually becoming the mainstream. I think a lot of times
people easy. Talk that talk, boy.
I mean, they might have been faking for a long time, because that was the custom, that was the norm. Like, you couldn't just be sleeping around because you would be looked down upon. But now we live in a time where that's not looked down upon, and people's true character is coming to the forefront. So women are sleeping around, niggas are sleeping around. Part itself. Remember, I put up a post, homophones. Nigger is two different words. But look, people are out here sleeping around where they're not honoring covenant. So you'll get a man and a woman that wants to get married, but then cheating comes into the case, right? And then the woman is like, bro, I don't want to stay here. Or the man is like, I don't want to stay here, right? And that makes sense, because the covenant has been broken. And what I'm saying is, the reason why I personally wouldn't want to get married with somebody is because I feel like if I come into a covenant with you, through thick and thin really means thick and thin. That doesn't mean that when the going gets tough, or when I'm not able to take you to Japanese Tokyo Steakhouse, you know what I mean, that you start having, cold feet now. No, I expect you that when you stand in this covenant with me, that you're willing to say, yo, I'm gonna rock with you forever. When I say thick and thin, I mean that, boy. Like, I'm not just saying words. And I feel like we live in a society that's based off feelings, because facts are no longer facts no more. Now everything is based off of feelings. So today I feel like I love you. Hold on, son. No, somebody trying to call me from jail. I apologize, yo, kid, if you're watching this, because I don't know what they do in jail. Supposedly you be watching this stuff. If you're watching it, I ain't pick up the call because I can't right now, right? Call me back later. But what I'm saying is that thick and thin, right? It shouldn't be based off of feelings. Today, I might say I rock with you, but we live in a microwave society right now where everything is so like constant, where you can go on Facebook, you can go on Instagram, or you can go on to whatever that dating website you said, swipe left, Like you can do that because we live in a microwave society. So people are so focused on the moment rather than making longevity decisions. So if I come in and I think, and just to be clear for anybody watching, marriage is a longevity decision. That's not something that you just say, I feel like getting married today. So you get married with whoever you're talking to, right? Like marriage, at least in my opinion, it should represent longevity to the, when you say through thick and thin until the day that I die, and you tell me I do, I'm expecting you to actually fulfill that, right? And I'm sure that you're probably expecting me to fulfill that. You're not expecting me to, when we come back from honeymoon, now you go through my phone and you find out I've been talking to 5 different girls. You're like, yo, that's not what you expecting because people are not being real. We live with our feelings. Today, I feel like I only love you, baby girl. Tomorrow, I might like your best friend because she came through and she looks a little bit like you. And, you know.
Come on.
That's
okay,
again,
that's
depending
not
on
cool,
the
though.
communities we're living in.
That's not cool. You know what I mean? And I think that the reason why I would want to have this conversation, because I feel like these are things that people ain't addressing. People are too busy turning the other cheek. And when Jesus says turn the other cheek, it didn't mean be a sucker. You know what I mean? Contrary to popular belief. That's not what he meant, though. You know what I mean? He didn't mean be a sucker. So I'm not trying to look at a woman who came into a covenant with me and say that, all right, you cheated on me but it's okay. You know what I mean? Because you felt that way, and I should be more, mindful of how you felt versus what the truth is. The truth is me and you got married. You shouldn't be out here doing that. Why would you even marry me if you want to do that, right? Like, that is the truth, at least for me. I don't know. Maybe for her it's different, right?
No, but you make a lot of good points, Meezy. And, I'm sitting here listening to everything you say, right? And it just, and it reminds me so much of how, today's society is about how I feel. It's about how I feel. So you talked about, till death do your part in the covenant, right? So if someone cheats in a covenant, they automatically break the covenant. So that means there is no longer covenant because you broke your vows, right? So that means you broke the contract. The contract is null and void, and now there is no contract, right? So I completely agree with what you're saying with that. So what I guess I want to focus on a little bit is there, and I think it was what you were trying to point out when you asked Loida the question. So if he held it down and matched her energy, and and there was no abuse, there was no physical abuse, verbal abuse, but today you woke up and you really weren't feeling it. Today, he just, today, get away from me. You smell, you know what I mean? Or whatever, whatever it is that we,
I'll tell anybody to get away from me if they smell. I'm just
whatever we want to hold on to or whatever, whatever excuses we put up in our head, I don't think it's cause enough to say, okay, now I'm not happy. Now I don't want to be in the marriage anymore. And I think that's what we're losing ourselves as a society, where to your point, where it's about my feelings and how I feel. It's so there's gonna be struggles in our relationships. There's gonna be ups and downs. There's gonna be lows and highs. There's gonna be situations where there has to be some type of I don't want to say confrontation, but a type of or a place where there's a dialogue, where there's going to be uncomfortable conversation, and there's going to be things that need to be brought up in order to move the relationship forward. But I think today now we get so caught up in I'm not happy anymore, or I'm not in love with you anymore, and I'm sorry, but this might come off super wrong, but I'm gonna say it anyways. Since when marriage have to do with your feelings or with love? Marriage is duty. Marriage is you getting up there and through thick and thin, through death to us part, to riches for poorer, for sicker and health, for all that good stuff. So when does it say in those vows to I'm not happy anymore, or to I'm not feeling the butterflies anymore, or to
I agree with Joanna right here. Joanna says this is why we need to be slow to move.
Yeah.
Get to know each other and remember to be equally yoked.
Facts.
That's important to me, because a lot of times I feel like, in relationships these days, one person loves the other person more. And it shouldn't be like that. Like, we should be equally yoked. We should, like, I should love you the way you love me and be willing to put up with what you're willing to put up with because we love each other. It should be like that. Now, why it's not like that is because I feel, because society, and this is just my opinion, again, my opinion, but I feel like we're so rooted in feelings that how I feel today is not how I feel tomorrow. So therefore, I can't give you a solid answer today. I could tell you what you want to hear today. That doesn't mean that what you want to hear today is what you're going to want to hear tomorrow from me, because I'm not going to give you a real answer. I'm going to give you what you want to hear today. And that's only if it makes sense for me. I might want to get past this day without no argument. So I'll tell you what you want to hear. But then you'll come to find out later on that I was lying the whole time, right? And we have to address that, right? Why is that? Why do you feel like you got to lie to me to make me, like, why? For that, like, we should be equally, you should love me the way I love you. I don't know, Loida. I see your facial expressions. Go ahead.
I honestly, like, what I feel is just sad as I'm listening to you guys, because you know, like when I was hearing about and I'm sorry, your name, I'm forgetting.
It's Caesar. You can just call me Ceez. Yeah.
Ceez. Thank you.
Yeah.
When you were mentioning about core and like the thought of losing stuff, right? Like I can relate differently, right? Like I've been hurt, and then I've had to take on being a single parent and taking so much responsibility, taking you know, paying rent by myself, taking my son to Children's Hospital by myself, doing so much by myself, right?
Yeah.
So I can feel the pain, right? So I can feel the pain on the other side. I just feel like there's so much hurt that happens for us as humans that it's scary, right? It feels scary to approach a relationship, because it's like, what if the same thing happens? Like, I've already been hurt. I don't want to hurt anyone.
And that's a relationship. What about even taking a step further in marriage? So that's why I think we're seeing so many low, you know, the marriage rate continue to go down more and more and more, to your point, because now, and I'm going to, you know, I'm a type of person that I hold men more accountable than women. And this is why. And I, you know, you might think that, you know, whatever it is, but I believe that in order for a relationship to be something that's fruitful, there has to be a foundation set. So, right, you can't build a house with no foundation, right? There has to be a foundation. In order for that house to be solidly built, there has to be a foundation, right? And me being a man, I have to be able to lay down that foundation and say, okay, because let's keep it a buck. If I'm not somebody that's, you know, and I know that women today make their own money, boss babes, all that good stuff, y'all independent. I get it. Look, more power to you. I'm a feminist. I love the fact that you know, and I agree with the fact that we are completely equal. What I am not agreeing with is the fact that men have stepped out of their roles as being protectors, providers, a rock, someone that's solid, that no matter what happens, they don't bend or fold, they don't move, they don't, you know what I mean? They don't shake. They're solid on their foundation and what they're and what they stand for. So I think personally, men are soft today. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. The majority of us can't even take a constructive criticism without feeling offended, without feeling like I'm being attacked.
Hold on. I gotta laugh at that because dudes are not ready for this. And go ahead, I'm gonna let you talk, but first I gotta play this.
I know you're gonna dig this.
Dig this, yeah.
You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me. So you know, so we're talking about you know relationships and marriage, and a lot of men are like, man, I'm trying to find the woman, find this, find that, but and I sit back and I think, I'm like, if no one is choosing you, there has to be a reason why no one is choosing you, right? So you know, we want to talk about that. We want Queen, we want women with that, but what are we doing to get that? It's just like us saying, just like me saying, I want to be fit. I want to have six-pack. I want to have abs. But I'm at home, not going to the gym, not working out,
drinking
not taking care of myself, not doing what I need to do to reach that goal. How am I going to expect to get that? So us as men, we, you know, I listen, I hold men to the fire because I honestly believe that it starts with us. We're the ones that have to set the example. We're the ones that have to. A woman is not going to follow a man that cannot lead. It's just not going to happen. So in order for you to have a woman, follow you or be led by you or whatever the case may be, you have to demonstrate leadership skills. You have to be able to protect, provide, provision.
Boy, you got to let that sit, you heard?
What?
Women are not going to follow a man who can't lead.
Facts.
But yet every man thinks he's supposed to be a leader of his woman.
Where they do
If
that
you
at?
can't lead,
Yeah.
come on, son, not even an ant going to follow you. You know what I mean?
Think about it like this, right? I'll give you a perfect example, right? So let's say we're at war, right? We're at war. We're in a heated firefight, right? And we're fighting the enemy. We're in Iraq. We're fighting, the Taliban, right? And your lieutenant, they start bombing and your lieutenant starts freaking out. Oh my God, we're gonna die. Oh my God, what are we gonna do? You're looking at this dude and you're like, you're supposed to be my leader. I'm supposed to follow you. You're gonna be like, nah, I ain't following you nowhere. I'm like, you're supposed to be stoic. You're supposed to be a rock. You're supposed to be somebody that in the fire, people are gonna turn to you for the answer or turn to you for reassurance or turn to you for comfort, whatever the case be. But if you're not demonstrating those leadership qualities, I'm not gonna follow you into no fight. I'm gonna be like, nah, player. Like I seen how you were when it went down. I'm not gonna follow you because you're not a leader. So why do we think that today as men think that it's okay for us to be mediocre? Let's keep it real, or even less than mediocre, because right now, women are dominating universities. The majority of the majority of students right now, I think it's 60% are women. We stopped going to school. We stopped bettering ourselves. We stopped going to the gym. We stopped doing all these things that are, are one, building ourselves up. Two, allowing ourselves to grow and to be able to say, okay, you are somebody that I can follow. You know why? Because you keep your word. You say you're going to the gym, you're going to the gym. You say you're going to go, do whatever it is, you're going to go do it. It ain't all about talk. But now we got guys that are overweight, that don't take care of themselves, that don't dress properly, that do all these kinds of, and then talking about I want a queen. And I'm like, where they do that, my friend? What's that going on?
Loida, let me ask you something, right?
Go ahead.
Being I lost her. I was about to ask her a question.
You was gonna ask her the hot question. You lost
I just wanted to get her opinion. You know what I mean? This person says, Bambi says, a woman that is married for 25 years and let her husband lead and followed all of his life, he wasn't able to step up to the plate. This is a real comment, bro. Like, that right there is a real comment right there. I don't know. She's saying that she followed these rules and she allowed her man to lead her, but he wasn't able to step up to the plate. And this is actually why I think that honesty is one of the best qualities that we can have before getting into a relationship with people. You know what I mean? I think a lot of times we, like my man Ceez says all the time, we present people to our lawyer. Somebody who's going to represent.
A representative. We show people a representative.
I would love to hear Bambi, like if she could call in, because I really want to understand what she's bringing up. Like I hear it, but I want to hear it and feel it.
Yo, Bambi, call in. The number's pinned in the chat. Would love to have your input, just to bring the system clarity. But what I'm saying is that a lot of times people put trust in people that let them down, so you can't blame them for not trusting people again. You know what I mean? And one of the things for me personally, before I became a Christian, was that I didn't trust people at all. And you know me, Loida, you know me, Ceez, like I didn't trust people at all. And so one of the ways that God had to meet me, he had to meet me personally on a relational type of level where I could relate to him and he can relate to me. And I think that a lot of times people be fronting, faking it to make it, you know what I mean? And people will tell you what they want to hear because it's based off of feelings, right? Back to that whole feeling thing. Like, I'm going to tell Loida what she want to hear because she's beautiful. I want her by my side. I want to go to a party with her and have people look at me and be like, yo, that nigga shorty is fire. Like, I want that, but I'm not willing to just keep her as the only one. I'm not willing to keep her as the only one, because when things change, when I hit, quote unquote, the lottery, I'm willing to say, because now I can get any girl I want, Loida's no longer valuable. So I'm saying you've been fronting the whole time. You know what I mean? And what if people weren't fronting? Is the point. Why ain't marriage working? Why ain't relationships working? I think because people
I think
fronting.
it goes back to the nuclear family, because if we take a step back and look, fathers are the first line of defense for their
Oh,
daughters.
real quick, part of I'm gonna cut you off. I'm gonna put the number in the chat right now. It should be pinned up, but I'm gonna put it in again. Just call in, and it's the first time we doing this, so I apologize for any misconnections, but we're gonna get it happen. So call in. I'm gonna put the number in the chat right now.
Yeah, I do want to say that I think that, like, and I hear what you guys are saying, because it's a lot of it is true. And like, from where, when I think about my grandparents, right? Like, I have two different sets of grandparents. They have all passed. May they rest in peace. And one of them was your phone. So he's gonna have to figure out. Can you still hear me?
Hold on.
Yeah, I'll just share what I'm saying. So I think that, so one of them, they were married forever, and then I know that one of the couples, they had a kind of like a toxic relationship, right? There was alcoholism involved, right? And so my aunts and uncles, can you just mute yourself?
Yeah, take it off the ringer, dude, or mute yourself. Put that shit on mute.
Damn, it's on you like a pero.
That's me and my brother. You know, we talk like that.
I'm trying to make it happen, man. Relax.
Yeah, but put it on vibrate. Put it on vibrate.
So then, the way the relationships function is passed down, right? Like, my aunts and uncles get to watch their married parents that are in a healthy relationship and learn from that, and then the ones that learn from a broken relationship get to learn from that. It doesn't mean that then a healthy relationship can't evolve, but sometimes what's brought up is more what we're conditioned because what we see is what we think is right.
Loida.
If that makes sense.
I don't mean to cut you off. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, but I was talking.
So I'm just trying to make sure that they can plug in.
Man, rude, bro.
You're right. Terrible.
Yeah, I apologize. I'm just trying to make this connect, yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yo, whoever's on the phone right now, talk. Let me see if I can hear you.
Stop it, y'all.
Right, talk. You on live right now? We can hear you.
All right. So, what was the question you wanted to know, hon?
Oh, well, you made a comment in the chat, and I just want to hear what your perspective was. Like, I just want to hear it.
Just being like a wife with someone for 25 years, and just like following his hopes and his dreams, and putting myself and his, being part of the army, and then putting myself in the back burner, and and just I completely understand what you guys are completely talking about right now, about men. And, I was that type of wife that was there and supportive, and, and an army wife, gave him 4 children. And it's just like, the same father of all 4 of my kids. And it's just like, I completely understand, of us women and, and the men that are, trying to, I don't know, like
what happened in your relationship? Like, I want, did it end your relationship? Did we lose her?
I think we lost.
Here.
Oh, okay. Did your relationship end?
We got a divorce.
Okay, so I'm just curious of what happened. Like, what happened? If you're open to sharing.
No, I don't mind sharing at all. I mean, I can just tell you right now that I was like that, met at a young age. He was an army man. We have 4 beautiful children together. And, I, believed in him, his hopes and dreams, and, wanted to put me in the back burner. And, and I followed him wherever he wanted to go, and just being faithful. But like I said, again, he was someone who was just like, oh, well, I'm gonna get this job, and I'm gonna support the family, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do that, and then still following him 25 years, and then after that, I decided, myself as being a woman, just like, you know what, I need to step up to the plate, because now I put my respect and I put my worth, following this man, because I love him and I care for him, and I gave him these children, and we're supposed to prosper and grow together, and then us women, after we do that, we degrade ourselves. We we don't know who we are anymore.
That's what I was gonna say. You lose your identity because you're so.
You lose our identity, and that's what I'm saying. And being with someone that I was with him at the age of 18, and I don't care. I'm gonna tell you my age. I'm 45 now, and it's just like, I'm like, after just getting a divorce, I'm trying to find myself all over again, just following someone that I believed in. So, and that's the hard part when
this is so beautiful.
You're there, like, you're growing, and you're like, all right, honey, don't worry about it. I'm working at this great company that I am. I've been there with them for so long. Don't worry about it. You could be the father of the house and be like the housewife, and I'll go ahead and support the family or whatever. But it was always about competition, and that's not about what we are when we get with somebody. It's not about competition. We're here to help each other grow. Like, if I'm doing good, I'm making more than you, you should be appreciative about that. Don't make a competition and like, oh my God, I need to go out and make more money than her. I need to be at her level. No, that's not how it is. And then it was just like a lack of communication. The communication wasn't there anymore.
Yeah, what I love, I do want to say, I want to say this real quick, is like, what I feel like happens with people, with us as human beings, is that we're not taught to love ourselves first. So we get in relationships desiring to be loved. And it's, of course, that's an important part of relationship. But if we're not loving ourselves, we're going into relationship from a yearning and desire to be loved, but we're not even aware that we desire to love ourselves. So we go years and years and years chasing this love, not realizing we're actually chasing ourselves. What was that?
But you know what's so funny? Because I call it a pattern. Because I've seen this throughout my life, like with my own mom, like how she catered to my own dad. So, us being Hispanic and half Black, we think that that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to cater to our men, making sure he has his plate first, and making sure that his clothes are ironed, and making sure that, when he walks through that door, that the house is clean, so it's a pattern to me. This is something like I've seen it growing up. So I felt like, okay, meeting a man, I'm supposed to do these things. But then, you slowly bust out of your own shell and spread your own wings. We're like, oh, hell no. I know what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah. Yep. That's what I was just saying. It's like the conditioning.
And then your value just goes down.
Like, it's the conditioning of what we see as is the pattern, right? Like, we see our mothers, our parents, the mother does everything. That's what I saw. My mother did everything. Yeah. So then that's what I believe that I'm supposed to do. And so then I take that identity, I take my mother's identity, until eventually I'm like, actually, no, that's not what I want to do. And then I find my own identity.
That's right.
but it's beautiful, right? Like, it's a beautiful journey, even though it's difficult, right? It's sometimes it sucks. It's like, damn, I'm 41, right? You're 45. You might be thinking, damn, it took me this long, or whatever it is, right? Oh, I went through this much pain, and it sucks. And it's a beautiful journey of growth and evolution. We're learning how to love, because at some point we
honey, let me just tell you right now, being with someone for 25 years of your life, that divorce is difficult, because believe, what I'm saying? Like, divorce is, I just got I finally, signed off, and we are completely divorced, and it's been 2.5 years. Homeboy already found himself somebody else, living with them and everything, and didn't want to try. To me, I believe in trying. You know what I'm saying? To love, because I love them so much, to make it work, do marriage counseling, do what you have to do, because you've been with this one person, and this is the only person your whole entire life.
Yeah. No,
You
I
know,
mean, I'm
but
sending you so much
divorce,
love
divorce.
because
I mean,
I've
it
been in
hurts. I
shorter
mean,
relationships. I've been in shorter relationships and they've been difficult, but mostly, honestly, I feel like they were really challenging for me to break from because they were codependent relationships. They were
hmm
before I loved myself. Because now the way that
exactly.
I am with myself, there's things that I just will not tolerate. There's no way. And when I look back, there's so many things that I tolerated and accepted when I didn't love myself, right? That it's like, what was I even thinking? That now it's like hell no. You put your hand on me.
Yeah, back
No. You
then
verbally
like
no.
for me back then I was like a yes girl, like a yes wife. Yes, honey, I'll do this. Yes, we were yes women back then. So now it's like like you said, we're codependent and we value ourselves and we value our worth. Like I have two older daughters. And just to teach them that as well, like, you shouldn't have to take two steps back just to follow a man. Oh, hell no. Take your two
Right.
steps forward so he can be looking at you from the back, but like, yo, that's my girl right there.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, man. I think that a lot of times, us as men, we can have a woman next to us that's ready to rock out with us. And because we have that woman there, we don't value for some reason. It's almost like there's that saying that says, unless you lose something, you're not gonna know what you had or something like that. I don't,
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
misquote me, but
You don't know what you got until it's gone. Janet Jackson.
yeah. So I think that it's a sad story that it has to be like that because I'm thinking if I'm trying to put things in perspective according to truth, I would
hmm
say that we should consider those things that day that we decide to get married. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And do you know what's so funny? I proposed to
Oh,
I think we lost her.
oh, okay. Because I was gonna say, was that me?
No,
Like,
no, no, no,
geez.
no, no, no,
Mhm.
no. She's there. She's
Oh,
there.
you're
She's
there.
there.
You
Yeah, she's there.
proposed to him, you said?
yes, I did. Because back in the day, don't forget, people are old fashioned. They always think the man's supposed to come with a ring and, get on freaking, one knee. Nope. Traditions change, and I felt at that time, he's the father of my kids. I'm in love with him, and this is who I want to be with for the rest of my life, or whatever. And he even had an accident and lost, his arm and had it attached, and I was still right there in the hospital with him, and that's like this is the man who I want to be with. But things change, life change. We all just grow.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question, Bambi?
How do you? But I have a question for you guys. Like, how do you guys see this? Like, biblically.
Yeah,
How
see,
do
you want to answer that? Or you want
Yeah,
me?
well, I wanted to ask her a question. Actually, I have two questions for you, Bambi, if you don't mind.
Go ahead, honey.
All right, let me ask you, who initiated the divorce?
Who initiated the divorce?
Yep.
He did.
Okay. And what was his reason for the divorce?
His reason for the divorce,
Uh-huh.
he wanted to have a divorce because he, okay, that's another thing. Like, I don't want to put like the whole story out on
Yeah,
why.
you could just give us the gist. It doesn't have to be detailed. Just, the gist
Okay.
of,
So the gist
why.
of the story, is even though we were together for 25 years, it was still an abusive relationship. I
What do you,
still tried
what do you mean by abusive? Physically abusive, verbally abusive, mentally abusive,
all of the
all of the
above,
above?
honey. All five. There's five abuses.
Mm, mm.
Okay.
There's physically, there's emotionally, financially,
Yep.
spiritually.
Okay.
Yup. Yup.
Okay.
Let that talk. Go ahead.
Yep.
Okay, so there's five of them. So that's what it was.
Okay.
So I didn't initiate it
Mm-hmm.
because that's the fact. Because I still, regardless, a girl, this is her father of all her kids, and she's
Yep.
still in love, and I believe that I wanted it to work. He didn't. Homeboy ended up going on dating sites and looking for other people.
Okay.
So that's what he did.
So he broke the
And he
covenant.
was
He broke.
initiated because.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say. So he initiated the divorce. He basically wanted to see other people.
Yes, he did.
Okay.
Yes,
All
he
right.
did.
All right, all right. That's what I wanted to ask, because it's important that we understand why things happen. And I'm gonna tell you, for one, any man would be lucky to have a woman like you by their side, and I say that as truthfully, as honestly as I can. But someone that's been with somebody 25 years, that's been through, you know, the physical abuse, all the, everything that you mentioned, and still are willing to say, hey, let's go to marriage counsel. Hey, I don't want to break up my family. Hey, I don't want to break up my home. I think that's what's lacking in today's society, in today's relationships, where even though, listen, I do not agree or condone with any physical abuse, mental, any of the above at all whatsoever. So the fact that you're still able to say, hey, I am willing to still, work with you, go to counseling, let's fix this, let's work on this, man, I commend you. Because most people would have left a long time ago. And the fact that you say, hey, I have this person that I have 4 children with, I want to set, an example for my family. Let them know that even though the things get tough, you don't run away. You face your fears and you fight to the end. I think that's commendable. And I think that's something that we lack a lot, especially, as especially the women. Because I don't know if you heard the part where I said, and you guys can feel free to look up this information. 80% of divorces are initiated by women. So, that right there, I mean, listen, I wish I could give you a hug right now. Honestly, I don't know you personally, but you're someone that I believe can help a lot of the younger generation, or this generation, understand what it is to actually be there through thick and thin, through death do you part. You know what I mean? Because it's commendable, because so many of us, it gets tough, man. We're quitting. Man, humans always take the path of least resistance. We don't want to go down the hard road. We want to go through the path that's going to be the easiest, that's going to be the smoothest. And for you to do something like that tells a lot about your character. It tells a lot about your upbringing. It tells a lot about what you value.
And I believe in those. And when I took those vows, I believed in those words. And so death do us part for goodness, goodness and health. I believed in all of that. Like I just said, I was there when he lost his arm, and I was already 4 months pregnant, and I was in the hospital just about to lose our baby, and I was right there. So yes, I believe in all of that. I mean, even though there's still good in a man end up seeing like, oh my God, I've been with this woman for so long. She tolerated my bullshit. She tolerated, I put us in financial debt. She tolerated me, spiritually, when I just kept telling her I don't believe in her God. She tolerated me when I told her that she couldn't even go see her family for 25 years, and she still tolerated all of that, and she's still here with me. That's what some men need to like, and that's like now need to open up their eyes and see, you like you just said, you have a good woman right there beside you, but you keep trying and pushing her buttons. What you gonna do next? Now I'm gonna go and tell my friends, oh, she's crazy as shit, and she don't know what she's talking about, and play victim.
Anything you want to add to that, Loida?
I mean, I think that because I can relate. I was in a relationship for 12, close to 13 years, and I think that sometimes also we stay too long in relationships, and that's just how I feel. I think that I wanted to like make it work. I wanted to make it work no matter what, and I allowed myself to go through hell and back when I really didn't have to. So that I don't think the point is to prove that I can. It's to really check, like, is this healthy for either of us? And if there's children involved, is it healthy for the children involved? Because even sometimes we stay in relationships because we want to stay in them for our kids, but then people are fighting, and it's just chaos for the kids. It's not healthy. So really to check in.
I do completely. Honey, I do completely. Believe me, I completely understand. I mean, like, I have so many friends and family, and co-workers, and managers, whoever, are all telling me that I should write a book and write a memoir about my life right now, because I mean, you just really don't know. But the thing I'm just saying, like, my experiences can help the youth, and that's the goal for me to put out there.
If you don't mind me asking, where you calling in from?
Massachusetts.
You from Lawrence?
Yes, I'm from Lawtown. I live in Lowell right now.
Cool. I just wanted to put like a map to where you was talking from, so I can try to understand.
She's from the law. No,
Yeah. Hey, Bambi, what did you mean? What did you mean? Because you repeated it.
I'm GI sister. I'm GI sister.
GI sister. Who's GI?
Are you GI sister?
Yes, I am.
Like my best friend GI.
Yes, your best friend.
Wow. Your best friend GI. You don't even know your sister's name.
I didn't even know that.
Oh, so I know you personally.
Oh, yeah, though. Appreciate that.
Hey, Bambi, I know you personally.
I didn't hear him.
You used to live on Border Street, down upstairs from
Boston. I'll week with you. Yes.
Do you remember me?
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right. I know who you are now. I know you very well. I know your parents and all that, and your brother and all that.
You did.
All that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We're all family right here right now. We're all family right here right now.
Yeah. So let me ask you. Hey, Bambi, you said this a couple of times, and I just want a little clarification. What did you mean by putting yourself in the back burner? Because I know you said it 2, maybe 3 times. So I just want to understand, what does that mean and where you coming from with that?
Because I am a strong woman, but I believed in my man.
Mm-hmm.
But I put my strength. That's why if certain people that know me, they know that I go by Wonder Woman too as well. So I put myself in the back burner because
you put him first.
I put him.
What do you mean by that? Like, you put your career, your education, your life. Like, what does that mean? Like, did you feel like he was holding you down?
Education, yes, I did. My education, I did.
Okay.
And then, there's a few times that I did have to go and, sign up for school behind his back and get a couple of certificates and a couple of degrees on my own. Because, like I said, I put everything in the back burner because I believe what my man said to me.
Okay.
He's an army man. And and I followed him.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. I just wanted to get clarification what that means, because I think it's
yes, and I think so now, after we, divorced, climb myself up the ladder at work, and got promoted 4 times already, being there for 4 years.
Girl. That's what's up.
That's right. And my trials and my tribulations, got custody of 2 of my children from him, and got my own place on my own. It was hard, but I did it.
Girl, get it. You know what song is on my mind? It's No More Drama. No more drama.
Mary J. All right, Mary J.
You know what?
I'm loving it. Hey.
Yeah. But I want to be honest. I have to go. I loved our conversation. I'm so grateful that I was able to be here through this. And I want to thank Jamie for having me again and meeting you, Ceez, and having a fruitful conversation.
Oh, you already know.
And I love that you called in, Bambi. I hope everybody that's watching has a good night, or listening has a good night. And
you too, sweetheart. And I'm sorry I couldn't call in, earlier, but if it wasn't for bro, and I'm listening to music right now, and I'm like listening to the conversation, and bro's like, call in. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna call in because they asked me to, but
this is actually the first time we had somebody call in. So
that you guys respect, but like everything that I discussed right now, and I hope that whoever else is out there be able to understand what I'm talking about. And like I said, us as women, we do sometimes. It's a family pattern, and we, put our husbands, our boyfriends, our guys, whoever, we put them first.
Yeah.
And put them on a pedestal.
Yep.
And then, and just forget like who we are.
Yep.
And and then you realize at the end of the day, wait a minute, I remember who I am. I remember my identity. This is who I am right now. This is my worth. But like I said, at the end of the day, God listens to my prayers. God is good, and
amen.
Congratulations.
Yo,
Thank
sis,
you.
man, we appreciate you
What's up?
calling in. It was dope. This is the first time we did this, but it came out pretty dope. So I just want to say I appreciate you. Now I know
Thank
who
you,
you
hon.
are. So I thank you personally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No problem at all.
It was good talking to you again, Bernie, man. Say, give my love to your brother and your fams and everybody, man.
I will. I will.
I remember everybody. I remember your pop
Um,
you smoking cigars and all that, being a Jonesy and all
And
that.
he
I
still
remember
does.
all that.
He still does. And he
Yeah.
still plays the bass downstairs in the
Oh,
basement.
word? That's what's up.
I'm
That's
out.
what's up.
Bye,
Yeah,
everybody.
man. Yo, enough respect, man. Love to y'all, man.
Love you too, hon. Love you too,
All
hon.
right. All right.
Bye.
Bye.
yeah, so you know, that was dope, man. That was Bambi that just called in. It was dope. That was the first time we did a call in. God willing, we'll be able to do this further. I mean, yo, Ceez, man, you know, Loida had to dip off because, you know, she got parent
Yeah, no, for sure,
responsibilities.
man. Everybody, we've been on this almost 2 hours. I get it.
Yeah, facts. And I want to say, man, that I definitely appreciate both of y'all for coming on. We had a couple more questions to get into and some facts to get into,
Yeah.
but we didn't even get there because God obviously had a different plan. So,
No, for sure.
yeah, so I just want to say I appreciate you for logging in with me, man. I appreciate Loida for logging in with me. Everybody who's been rocking with us, man, I appreciate y'all. You know, Ceez, I don't know, you want to lead us out in prayer?
Yeah, for sure. So, before that, I do want to just say one thing, man, and I want to say is that, you know, I'm going to talk directly to the men. You know, that anybody that ever watches this or ever gets a chance to see this is that, you know, we have to be accountable for the way our life is. You know, we want all these things. We want, to have a good wife, a good family, children. But what are we doing to obtain that? We want good women, but are we good men? Are we someone that is, somebody that understands what their role is and what their position is in a family structure, as a husband, as a father, and understand that you have to lead by example. Words, you have to be congruent with your words. You have to be congruent with your lifestyle. You can't say one thing and do the other, because that doesn't work. The reason why men are struggling so much right now with women and obtaining women and all that is because we lack. We lack in discipline. We lack in the ability to lead. We lack in structure. We lack in so many areas. And I want to encourage you guys, man, every single one of you, man, that put in the work. Put in the work. Every man knows what they lack, what they need to fix, what they need to, change in their life. And am I saying this is something that's going to be easy? Absolutely not. Is it possible? 100%. But it all comes down to what you do and what you put in. I have this deep desire in my heart that God's placed in my heart to help men, be the best men they can be. But it starts with you. You have to want it. You have to want better for yourself. You have to want better for your future. Because right now you may not think it's a big deal, but when 10 years, 5, 10, 20 years down the line, you're going to understand how big of a deal it was that you didn't put in the work to get what you needed. So I encourage you guys, every single one of you guys, especially obviously the single men. If you are single and you do not have a family, you don't have, or even if you do have a family, you are single, you live by yourself, there is no reason why you shouldn't be working at least 60 hours a week. There is no reason why you shouldn't be going to the gym 3-4 times a week. There is no reason why you shouldn't be educating yourself, reading books, finding a passion. There is no reason why you shouldn't be doing what's necessary to become the person that's gonna, let's keep it a buck, attract the women that you want.
I would say, man, any man that wants to be a man and lead a family, bro, you can't just say you a leader. You gotta be able to, be willing to go over the mountain first and take all the arrows just to tell somebody don't go that way. You know what I mean? Like, you can't be the dude that's sitting home playing PlayStation, you know what I mean, all day talking about give me my space, give me my time.
Basement smoking bud, talking about
Can't do
good
that.
woman there.
Can't do that, man.
Come on, man. That's crazy.
I think that you've been called to a greater standard, man. The Bible says that there's an order, right? It's God over Jesus, Jesus over a man, man over his wife, the wife over the children. Not to say that one is greater than the other, but to say that there's an order, there's a structure.
Facts.
And the minute that we step outside of that structure, you shouldn't have any questions why things are so confusing. You shouldn't have any questions why your marriage didn't work. You know what I mean? If you came into this marriage not honoring covenant, not honoring the vows that you took, you know what I mean? You shouldn't question why it didn't work.
Facts.
And I think that what's missing in today's society is that we live in a microwave society. Everything is right now. We need it right now.
Immediate gratification.
Yeah, immediate gratification, right? So relationships are not immediate gratification. And in fact, what it is that two people are coming together to serve a purpose in creation itself. This is why men and women together reproduce and create history, right? So this is where it's at. And the fact is that people are so emotional that even the simplicity of what life is becomes very confusing for a lot of people. They don't know if they want this girl. They don't know if they want that girl because they don't understand what covenant means. They don't understand what it means to say, this is my wife. This is the woman that I want to spend my life with. You know what I mean? And as cliche as that might sound, or as contrary to popular belief as that might be, I want you to understand that God has an order. And if you want your relationships to work, if you want your marriage to work, be willing to invest yourself wholeheartedly. When you take that covenant, stand by that. Let your word be greater than anything else, right? Because the Bible says that his word was exalted above his own name. You know what I mean? Because what God says is what he means, and what he means is what he says. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. If you're in a relationship or you're going in the direction of a relationship with somebody and you're not willing to invest the time that's required to make this successful, be honest. Stop running game, man. Stop destroying lives, man, because that's really what you're doing. You're creating families with people you don't want to be with, and now you got broken homes. You got children growing up in a society that they don't have guidance. And guess whose fault it is? Yours. You know why? Because you're prideful. You know why? Because it's all about you. You know what I mean? As much as you try to act like it's about my kids, I was one of them. You know what I mean? I was one of them dudes that would leave my house in the morning with a gun on my waist and say, I'm doing this for my kids. Not considering the fact that I might be locked up for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? Because, you know, contrary to popular belief, me putting a gun on my waist wasn't the same thing as somebody else. You know what I mean? I put a gun on my waist because I was trying to come up. And that's the only thing that made sense to me in being there for my family. The point is that it was wrong because it was rooted in feelings, not in logical sense. Because logic would have told me that if I go do this, I'm risking the fact that I won't be there for them. So as much as I'm saying I'm doing this for them, I'm also taking a risk and that is the confusion. That is because we're moved by our feelings and not moved by what makes logical sense. What is, like my brother said, what is truth? We can have an opinion. You can have an opinion. But the reality is that the fire is going to burn regardless of your opinion and my opinion, because that is the truth. You know what I mean? And we need to apply that same mindset to the lifestyle that we live. Especially when we're men and women trying to raise a family, when we're men and women trying to, you know, have a relationship, trying to have a marriage. Like it, bro, I had so many facts to get into, and I guess we might have to do this for part 2.
We might definitely, because we barely scratched the surface, I believe.
We barely scratched the surface.
2 hours, man.
Yeah, that's a fact. And honestly, I was actually trying to keep this to an hour because that's like a new phase that I'm trying to shoot for. But I'm not above letting God do what he want to do. So I pray that anything that's been spoken here today resonated with somebody. You know what I mean? Inspired you to step outside of your feelings and step inside the truth. You know what I mean? Because what's true today might not be true tomorrow. So if your feelings is based on what's true today, I promise you that's not a solid ground to build a house on.
Facts.
Because that ground gonna change, right? So build your house on what's truth. And when you come into covenant with somebody, spend enough time with somebody to say to yourself, I'm willing to be here through thick and thin, right? What does thick mean? Because it's easy to go through what's thin. It's easy to love people that love you back. But what does it mean to love somebody that doesn't love you because you made a covenant? You came into a covenant with them. And I think that that's one of the main things that's lacking in today's society. is the fact that we don't value covenant. We don't even value our own word. You know why? Because me coming from a street life, I would have told you, show up to this spot because homie want to meet you. But I really wanted you to show up to that spot so I could rob you. Right? Because we don't value what our word is. And the Bible says that God exalted his own word above his own name. Right? So, man, I pray that whatever we spoke today would inspire you to at least consider what it means to come into a covenant with somebody, what it means to say, I want to be with this person, and stop living by your feelings, because your feelings are going to lie to you. They're going to mislead you all the time, man.
Your feelings change like the weather, man. One minute you're sad, the next minute you're happy, the other minute you're crying. So you can't, the moment you make a decision based off your feelings, know that decision is going to be incorrect. 100%. Because you know why? Because you're making a decision based on an emotion that is temporary. You have to be logical. You have to be someone that thinks things through. And I'm going to say this to the ladies too, because I was talking to the men. And like I said, I hold men accountable, but I want to say this to the ladies too. So, you know, when you guys are courting, when you're being courted by a man or whatever have you, you're seeing the dude, you're talking to a dude or whatever, right? Involve your male family, father, brother, cousins, somebody that that doesn't want to have sex with you. And the reason why is because if you look back since the beginning of time, fathers and brothers and the males of the family vetted the husband for the daughters or whoever was getting married, right? They would tell, because we know, oh, he ain't no good, oh, he's this or he's that, or he just wants this or he wants that. Involve the men in your family to make these decisions, and I promise you, you're gonna have you're gonna be more successful in relationships, because they're gonna tell you the truth, because they don't want to sleep with you. Most men, I'll tell you whatever you want to hear to get you. Most men will tell you anything you want to hear to get with you, and the moment they get with you, now they have the leverage. Now you lose your power.
That's a fact.
Maintain your value. Maintain your power. Because if you the moment you release that, you relinquish that, then now you're at the whim of what he decides to do, and that's what leads to these broken relationships. Because we're not using the resources we have around us, our fathers, our brothers, our cousins. That's gonna tell us. Because think about it like this, right? Even today we have arranged marriages, right? The father, the males vet I whether I agree or disagree is irrelevant, but most times they don't care what that dude looks like. They don't care if you think he's cute. They are looking for someone that's going to be a provider. Is he going to be a good protector? Is he going to be a good husband? Is he going to be someone that's actually going to be good for my child, for my cousin, for my niece, for whatever? So involve the men in your life that are family members, that are going to give it to you straight up, no sauce. And another thing, listen to them. Listen to the opinions that are given to you, because I get it. I
definitely want to say this to the men, though.
Yeah.
If you want to be involved into the plans of the family, you have to be somebody that shows value. Fact. You can't just be a dude that shows up and plays PlayStation and expects your wife to go to work 10, 12 hours a day, and then come home just to submit to you.
Yeah,
you can't
gonna happen. You're gonna be in the curb. You're gonna be. And
granted,
that only lasts for so long.
Granted, there's some women out there that are willing to do that, and God bless their soul.
But it's only for a certain amount of time, Easy. They only do it for after a while.
God bless their soul, because that's only gonna last so long.
So long, because they're not. Our ineptitude, financially, emotionally, spiritually, physically, mentally, what we're leading or not, is only temporary. A real woman is only gonna take that for so long. After a while, they'll be like, man, I could do this on my own. I don't need you. You bringing me down. You holding me back. You supposed to be bringing up your woman, not bringing her down, man.
Yeah, that's definitely a fact, man. And so I just say this, man, that covenant is very important. And when you coming into a relationship with somebody, like, let your word be born, right? We always say word is
Be
bond.
congruent.
Absolutely. I come from the era where we say word is bond, right? And that was so great to us in that era because our word is the only thing you got left, bro. When you in jail, when you in the hospital,
you couldn't talk about it if you ain't live it, man. Like Jay
like your word is what you got, man. And I feel like in today's society, our word has become secondary. We would tell somebody what they want to hear just to get what we want, and just for them to find out later that we was lying. And then that creates like a snowball effect where they don't even trust people no more. Everybody's a liar, right?
All men are dogs. Don't trust them.
So what I'm saying is this, man.
All they want is this.
If you a man of honor, right? Because I understand that I'm not going to talk to every man out there. But if you a man of honor, you somebody that grew up understanding that when you said, this is my wife, that required that you would have to make compromises that you normally wouldn't make. If you one of them men, I want you to know, keep doing what you're doing, bro, because that's why your woman loves you. That's why she hasn't left you. But if you one of them other niggas, and remember, homophones, man, look at my comments. Homophone, it's a word that sounds the same but don't mean the same, right? So when I say that you one of them niggas, you one of them brothers that's out there saying that I'm a man and you have your wife and your wife doesn't submit to you, you might have to do some soul searching, right? Find out why she's not submitting to you, because like my brother said, we only going to follow people that we trust. So if your woman is not following you and you feel she should submit to you, that's not her problem. That's your problem.
Come on.
There's something you doing that's incorrect, man.
Or not doing,
right? And so what I want to say is this, man. Let your word be born, right? When you say something, whether it be to your friends, to yourself, to your family, or even to your wife, bro, let that be what you mean, man. Mean what you say and say what you mean, and then set the example. Because if you're to lead your household and your wife is cheating on you, then you might have to question what it is that you're doing. Because I know this dude's out there right now that got girls that ain't never cheat on them. So what's the difference? What's the difference? It's my question, right? Like, this shouldn't be hard. Like, men are created to be leaders. You're right. But not all men are leaders.
Facts.
That is a fact. You know what I mean? So examine your heart, man. And I pray that anything that we talked on here tonight resonated with y'all. We definitely going to do a part 2. Like I said.
Do me a favor, Mies. I want all the guys out there, any man out there that just wants somebody to talk to, someone, to, help them out, whatever. Listen, man, I'm here. I'll make myself available. You can feel free immediately to put my number in there in the chat or whatever, man. Reach out, man. It starts.
Yo, give me your number, cuz. Give me your number.
603.
Yep.
674.
Yep.
30.
Yep.
89.
89. Let's get it.
Yo, hit me up. Listen, man, my heart is to help us, man, build men up, man, and women too, man. Women, you guys got question about your men. You guys got question why he act that way, why you don't, or whatever. You want a better understanding of the male perspective of what it is as well, because here we don't discriminate, man.
Yo, hold on. Let me make sure I got this number right? So you got 603
674
3089, right?
Yeah, that's good.
Yo, hit my brother up, man.
Hit me up, man. I'm a work in progress too, but I'm working. And sometimes we just need that little bit of push, that little, that little motivation to take that first step, at least one step, because once you take that first step, all the other steps become a little bit easier because you rolling already. You're already in motion. But you have to want it to. You have to understand that in order for you to get what you want in your mind, you want that woman, you want that family, there's certain things that you have to do to get that and to get the quality woman that you want. And because it's easy. I mean, let's keep it a buck, man. Nowadays, man, it's easy just to go out and have sex with her. But after you're done, how do you feel?
It don't mean nothing.
Do you, right?
Don't mean
that
nothing.
Doesn't feel good, man. You know what I mean? You'd rather have something that's long lasting, that's gonna last, that's gonna,
I mean,
the test of time.
We was created that way, bro.
Facts.
We was created when you read the first story of mankind, mankind, like Adam, was created to have a wife.
Mm.
She was equal and comparable to help him in what God has called him to do.
Facts.
And one of the things that God calls us to do is to lead our household.
Mm.
You know, so yeah, a woman would submit to you, you know, to lead the household. But
If
if you
you're worthy of being
that's leading
submitted
the
to,
household,
you gotta be worthy of being submitted to, my dude. You know what
get
I
it
mean?
right, boy.
Period.
Stop it. You gotta relax. You gotta relax. Just because you a man don't mean that a woman should submit.
Come on.
Because only an idiot would submit to another idiot. So if you an idiot, you just an idiot. I don't care if you a man or a girl. You just an idiot, bro. And a woman isn't gonna submit to that, bro. I promise you. So yeah, you want to come, like I'm a firm believer of the order of God. I believe that it's God over Jesus, Jesus over man, man over a woman, and a man and a woman over her kids, right? I believe that. But I believe that in order for a woman to follow her man, he has to know which way he's going. It's common sense, Bobby.
Just
Like,
drop the mic. Just drop the mic and let it go.
Bobby,
Okay? Just
it
drop
is
the
what
mic.
it is, man. So if you want your woman to submit to you, maybe you need to examine yourself and say, am I doing what would require a woman to put confidence in me? Because a lot of y'all just sitting there playing Call of Duty, and a woman could care less about Call of Duty, bro. She thinking about putting food on the table. She thinking about paying bills. She thinking about high heels, putting on something nice for you. She's thinking about those things. And you playing Call of Duty ain't gonna answer none of those questions. You know what I mean? So look, man. Yo, Ceez, man, I just want to say thank you for coming on.
You, boy.
You
We're
know,
gonna do this
Loida,
again. For
I know
sure.
you logged out early. You had some parenting duties to attend to. I want to say thank you for coming on. We're going to definitely do a part 2. Like I said, this is the Him and Her podcast. We're going to talk about all things relevant to him and her.
Yeah.
And if you got any ideas, anything that you feel we should talk about, put it in the chat, send me an inbox, send me whatever, you know what I mean? But my man's number's right there, pinned up in the comment section. If you need somebody you just want to kick it with, you want to get some things off your chest, maybe some guidance or something, feel free to hit him up. You know, my number's also in the comments. Feel free to hit me up, or you can inbox me. But till then, man, we gonna hold off to part 2, because part 2, I'm actually planning on bringing in 2 more extra people.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So that we can get 2 extra perspectives on this. And I really want this to be a real conversation, bro.
Yeah.
I'm good with the cliche stuff.
Me too, man.
I don't want to just sit here and talk about what's right. I want to talk about what's right, but I also want to talk about what you're doing to make sure that what's right is right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So with that said, we're gonna get into this last video. This is my homegirl Loida. It's called Hopelessly Devoted. And what she's talking about in this song is being a woman fully submitted to her husband, but not just any husband, a man who knows how to lead his household.
Facts.
You know what I mean? So if you don't got a dad, somebody who's been teaching you how to lead your household, I pray that whatever we said here would at least inspire you to go in that direction. Because women are out
seek out
here.
counsel, man. There's nothing wrong with seeking out counsel, man. And there's nothing wrong with not knowing everything, man. But there's people out there that do know, that have the answers. But you gotta seek. You gotta knock. You gotta do what you gotta do. Because sitting here and hoping that it happens ain't gonna happen, man. So you gotta go out there, man, and do what you need to do, and find the group of men that's gonna hold you accountable too, man. So if you're gonna go to the gym, find somebody that's gonna hold you accountable. Yo, you go to the gym today. You did what you needed to do, because that's important too as well, man. We need to build a community of people that are going to support and build that self up, but more importantly, it's going to hold us accountable, so we are congruent with our words and our actions. And with that, I love y'all. God bless y'all. Means, thank you for having me on.
Oh man, appreciate you coming on, man. Appreciate you coming on. Everybody who's logged on, thank you for logging on with us. You know what I mean? Share the podcast if you felt like there was something here that can benefit somebody. Just share the podcast, man. We not doing, we don't do this to gain numbers, bro. Like I promise we don't. I
don't even have social media.
He's with us stood in the streets. You know what I mean? We was good money in the streets. We don't gotta come on here and talk to you about God's order. Because we learned that we can figure out our own order. Now, whether that led us to victory or not, that's a whole nother podcast. But we here to tell you that no, it didn't lead you to victory. And we want to just share to you what would lead you to victory. And you know what? You could talk about it, but if you're not being about it, it don't mean nothing. You know what I mean? So if you're going to speak about it, be about it. Don't just talk about you being a man. Don't just talk about a woman having to submit to you. If you don't know what it is to lead and you don't know what it is to be a man, you too busy playing Call of Duty, Poppy. You need to relax.
You got to relax.
You need to relax. You know what I mean? But anyway, yo, so with that, thank you for everybody logging on, share the live. And we're going to get into this next track from my homegirl, Loida. And this is a woman hopelessly devoted to a man who's willing to lead her the right way.
Facts.
You heard? Let's get it. Hold on. I gotta stop.
Wow.
So, Puzzle, you want to lead us out in prayer real quick?
Yeah, sure. So, Father, I just thank you for this time, Lord. Thank you for this time of discussion, Lord, of us being able to at least come to a place of understanding that we're able to, edify each other, edify others, Father, that those that are out there that do need help, that do need motivation, that do need guidance, Lord, that some way, somehow find them the help that they need, whether it be reaching out to us or reaching out to a family member or reaching out to whoever it is that they need to do, Lord, because at the end of the day, you called us to lead. And I ask you, Father, that you just open the doors to help us grow as men, as brothers, as husbands, as everything that you called us to be, and also for the women, Lord, that you allow them to see their value without having them to give up so much to see that. And I just pray that everything that we spoke, Lord, is fruitful and then it lands on good soil. And in Jesus' name, I thank you, Lord, for everything you did, man. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
Recall the first time I saw your face. Your smile gave me such a warm embrace. Now I find myself yearning for a taste. No, till I get you, this won't go away. Hopeless things unfolding to you. Hopeless things unfolding to you. Yes, I am. You're the man. Come wake me up, baby, from this dream. Make fantasy turn into reality. Your body fits me just like a glove. Your heart-shaped lips have me feeling so weak. You're making me feel weak in the knees. Oh, baby boy, what are you doing to me? Hopeless things unfolding to you. Hopeless things unfolding to you. Yes, I am. You're the man. Hopeless things unfolding to you. Hopeless things unfolding to you. Yes, I am. You're the man.
Let there be light.